Good morning, traders. So let's get moving with the DAX this morning. Now, the DAX was yet another really strange day of nothing. And I just want to draw the top of the weekly cloud. You can see how, this is the second week in a row that we've basically rejected this level. Okay. We have had a crossover here, which is bullish. And we've also had a twist in the cloud, which is bullish, but we don't have chicken span that's moving through. My concern here is that we are starting to roll on the stochastics here. Okay. Now, obviously, we'll need to wait for this weekly bar to complete to see if this crossover happens, but we are starting to roll, okay, which is kind of a little bit of a worry. And at the same time, I have pretty much the MACD making a new high, but price is making a new low. Okay. So anyway, just delete that line. Right. So the weekly is giving us some mixed signals, but there's more bearish indication than bullish indication here. Let's just go to the daily. Right. The daily is pretty much nowhere. And really nowhere. I mean, we very much range bound. And if I add a line on the 200-day EMA, let's just put it there. See, there's a 200-day EMA, and there's the top of the weekly cloud, and that is our current range that we are in at the moment. Now, from a price action perspective, this is a very typical scenario. So you have price running up, it sort of spikes, then it falls back into normally into a channel or into a range, and then it sits like this. And one of two things will happen. Obviously, it'll either break the upside or break the downside, but these are the lines in the sand that are drawn. Okay, now if you compare what Ichimoku is telling you to what price action does, you can see that we are being told that we are ranging, so it's a flat cloud, and we're also in between Kijinsen and Tikensen. Okay, so in other words, we are in the dead zone. There's what we call a dead zone in between here. When price sits inside here, it's the buyers and sellers are quite happy with those two levels. Okay, and just trying to see if there's another example of that. Here's another example here. You see how we're just hovering inside here. Okay, so that's kind of what's happening at this stage. It's pretty much range bound for now. Let's get down to the 4 hour, see if we can find something here. Okay. Right, and now you can see the clear range that we are in. Now, 4 hour, we have a grouping right at the 80 and a crossover here of the oscillators. So there is potential for downward movement to the bottom of the range. Okay, now, yeah, so I was kind of sleeping at the open and didn't climb in on the short. But what I did do is get in on this cup and handle, but I'll show you that. I'll show you that on the 1 hour. There's nothing really here. So Ichimoku is pretty much, we're in the cloud. Chico span is in price. We horizontal on Tikensen and Kijinsen, so there's really nothing here. The 200 moving average is flat. I mean, everything is indicating we are going sideways in this range. So just another thing, this grouping here doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to fall to the floor. If you look, here was the last grouping here, and it gradually moved to the upside, and then down, and then to the upside, and then the next grouping. So if you were just trading these groupings here, you'd be long here, wait for the next grouping, and you'd be getting out of the long here. But meanwhile, it's pretty much gone zigzag in the range. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's falling to the floor, it just means that there's a pullback a potential pullback coming, and that pullback could only come to halfway through the cloud, or even, halfway through the range high towards the bottom of the cloud. So I think what I'm saying is just don't read too much into it. It's just an indication that there is a potential for something to happen. Okay, 1 hour. So, the cup and handle. What cup and handle am I playing? This one here. So you see here's the cup, here's the handle. Okay. Now, I'm pretty much in on this trade off the 200 1 hour EMA here. Okay. And you can see how frustrating that trade has been because we've gone nowhere. So basically 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 hours, and we pretty much went absolutely nowhere. Okay, here you can see an indication of what I'm talking about when these oscillators group at the bottom. You see that? I think I've pointed it out in previous videos, but when you're at a level and they all group, there is a good indication that we're going to bounce off that level. Okay, so guys, so one thing that is potentially happening here, okay, so I need to come back. Right, so you can see here what was potentially the bottom of the range. We had a low, then we formed a lower low. Now, inside this range, we formed a higher low. So prices moving to the upside, okay? We also pretty much formed a higher high yesterday. So even though we did bounce off the top of the range, we did form a higher high. Okay, so now you can see, if we look from the left to right, price at the moment in the short term is trending to the upside. Okay, so if we ignore everything on the charts right now, so we ignore Ichimoku and we only focus on what's physically happening with higher highs and higher lows, we are trending ever so slightly to the upside. Okay, now with that in mind, we have a left shoulder here, we have a head, and are we forming a right shoulder here? Okay, now this is normally a pattern that forms inside a range for a break to the upside. Okay, the converse of this would be a fall to the bottom here, a rise, and then another fall, which would then give us left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder like this. Okay, so that's typically how we break out of ranges. So it's normally a head and shoulders pattern that forms, and all it essentially is price making higher lows. Okay, so low, higher low, and then up, or lower lows to the downside. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm watching for. I'm still in this trade. Okay, so let me just give you an indication of where my stop is at this stage. So stop loss is basically sitting right here. Okay, sorry, a little bit further down than that. So I'm just below the Kijinsen here on the 1 hour. Okay, that may change at the open because we have had a crossover of Kijinsen and Kijinsen here, and we are bouncing on this 200 EMA again. And I mean, this is all we've been doing for how many days now? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days now. So 7 trading days that we've been bouncing around the 200 EMA. So yeah, so at this stage I'm in, but I may call quits on this at the open. We'll see what happens at the open. Okay, so let's just, I'm just going to drill down to sort of a 12-minute time frame quickly, just to see what we have here. And you can see pretty much yesterday the move was off the top of the range down, and then we just hovered and went sideways. Okay, and ultimately we are still creating lower highs. You can see there was a high, lower high, lower high, and we closed off with a lower high. And if we just put a trend line, I'll just do that. So there's the price action for the day and price action for the day on the bottom. So again, we have a triangle. Now, normally these triangles break in the direction that they were traveling. So it was traveling down, consolidation, break the downside. So that's kind of what's staring at me. So we'll see. I may very well just take a closer stop loss on the trade and wait for a better setup. But at this stage, for as long as we stay above the 200, I'm fairly comfortable. If we start falling below the 200, then we're probably coming down to one of these two levels here. So yes, I think pretty much a wait and see day again, and a lot of this is because we've got FOMC minutes coming out tonight. So you're probably going to see more sideways action until the investors can now read the minutes. We already know there's an interest hike coming, but now we need to read the minutes to see if we can see anything else in the voodoo of the FOMC minutes. So yeah, I think today is another wait and see. And for me, I'm going to stay with the long that I have. I'm anticipating a break to the upside, but I may be dumping that and just wait for a better setup. So if there is something happening, I'll drop you a comment in the comments of the video. But for now, it's just sit on my hands and wait, see what happens. Anyway, guys, hope it helps. I suppose there's nothing much I can help you with when we're stuck in a range like this, but all I can suggest is short the top and long the bottom. Anyway, guys, hope it helps. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll catch you later.